Our top story tonight, it may be the mother of all buybacks. Big boy Reliance Industries will consider a share repurchase on Friday. Reliance will have to commit at least 16,000 crore rupees for the issue. Meanwhile, brother Anil Ambani may seal the Reliance AMC Nippon deal this week itself. The younger Ambani may also be looking to raise $1.5 billion by listing Flag Telecom in Singapore. The Prime Minister promises decisive action to avert a power crisis, puts Pulok Chatterjee on the job to monitor the sector, wants time-bound steps to fast-track power reforms. TDS tax trouble for Bharti. The tax department slaps a 1,070 crore demand notice on the company. The CBDT sources say other telcos too may be on the radar.
Showreel is studying Supreme Court judgment and is evaluating further course of action.
Showreel may appeal against the Supreme Court order in the Gujarat sales tax case. The company asserts that there is no immediate risk of a default.
I only hope that Cabinet will pass it.
The Aviation Minister is cautiously optimistic that the Cabinet will welcome investments from foreign carriers. The Reliance rally fails to fire up the stock markets. The Nifty consolidates around 49.50. The Sensex is down 15. But US home builders' confidence rises to its highest level since June 2007, triggers smart gains on Wall Street this evening. Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on India Business Hour. As you can see, it's a power-packed show quite literally for you tonight. But let's start with our top story. Cash-rich Reliance Industries is mulling a buyback if it gets the go-ahead from its board on Friday. Now, this will be India's largest buyback program ever. Sajid Mangat and Swati Khandelwal report Reliance will have to decide on whether it wants to support its stock price or reward its shareholders. Either way, the company will have to commit a minimum of 16,000 crore rupees.
For several quarters, shareholders of India's largest private sector company have been asking what Mukesh Ambani intends doing with $12 billion in cash sitting on its balance sheet. Finally, there's an answer, or as one leading brokerage says, a sterling idea. RIL's board will meet on Friday to take a call on what could be India's largest buyback plan. In the past, RIL did a buyback between December 2004 and January 2005. While it had announced a buyback totaling 3,000 crore rupees, it actually deployed just 150 crore rupees. Analysts say if the intention is to support the share price, RIL may go the open market route, but if the intention is to reward shareholders, the company may opt for the recently reworked tender process. In either case, the buyback will mean a minimum commitment of 16,000 crore rupees or 3.13 billion of cash reserves. This could mean RIL is betting on consolidation over big-ticket global buys in 2012. In Mumbai with Sajid Mangat, Swati Khandelwal Jain.
The Reliance AMC deal is likely to be announced in the next couple of days. The deal is likely to be struck at a valuation of over 5% of the assets under management. Kritika Saxena is standing by with those exclusive details. Kritika, this is a story that we broke right here on Cnbc TV 18 a few months ago, and now we understand that it finally may just be concluded over the next few days. What are you picking up?
Well, this deal has been in the back burner from quite some time. Now, to give you the details, we do understand that Reliance Asset Management Company will soon sell around 26% stake in the firm to Nippon. Now, the deal is likely to be announced in the next 2 to 3 days. The final details, according to our sources, have already been chalked out. So, to run you through some important numbers, we understand that the total valuation of the deal could be 5% of the overall AUMs. Now, at an average, the company's AUM stands at around 80,000 crore rupees. Of this, around 30,000 crores is equity and roughly around 55,000 crores is debt. So around 5% of this 80,000 crore rupees comes up to around 4,000 odd crore rupees.
Here's another likely development that can bring big relief or much needed relief to the younger Ambani. Reliance Communications, we learn, is reportedly looking to raise a whopping $1.5 billion by divesting 75% of its stake in Flag Telecom via the Singapore capital markets. Deutsche Bank has reportedly been mandated to chart out the the contours of the IPO, which may go through in about 2 quarters. That's the information that we're picking up. Of course, that depends on the market conditions, Alan.
Well, Shireen, the move, if completed, will enable the service provider to reduce at least 1/4 of its debt, a focus that even Anil Ambani has highlighted in his last AGM. When contacted, Arcom did not comment on details, but did say that it was constantly on the lookout to unlock value from global assets.
On to a power-packed series of meetings between power company CEOs and the government, which ended with the Prime Minister promising decisive action to avert a power crisis in the sector. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has put Pulok Chatterjee on the job to monitor the sector with a 90-day deadline to address pending issues. Here's what transpired at a series of meetings that were orchestrated by, we understand, Anil Ambani.
Anil Ambani, Cyrus Mistry, Anil Agarwal, a power-packed list of CEOs meeting with top government functionaries, including the coal, power and finance ministers, as well as the Prime Minister through the day today. On the agenda, a list of issues to be addressed to recharge the beleaguered power sector.
All meetings were very positive. All ministers, Prime Minister, Energy Minister, Coal Minister, Environment Minister, Minister of Petroleum, they all have given us full assurance that all our issues will be looked into and solutions found.
Now, a day after the Supreme Court upheld the plea of the Gujarat government, SR Oil says it may file a review petition seeking relief. While SR Oil mulls its legal options, Sajit Mangat and Gopika Gopakumar say the Supreme Court judgment has added to the company's woes even as it seeks to exit the CDR process.
The Supreme Court judgment couldn't have come at a worse time for SR Oil. The company was working on exiting the CDR process, but will now have to focus on dealing with its tax troubles. SR Oil, which has availed 6,308 crores so far as sales tax deferment incentive from the Gujarat government, will have to repay the same once it gets clarity from the Gujarat government on the repayment terms. Though the Supreme Court judgment could have led to a default as per the filing of the company, it says there is no immediate risk of default and is in active discussion with the CDR lenders.
SR Oil is already in discussion with CDR lenders for exiting the CDR, which is expected to be completed shortly.
Coming up next, though, a shot in the arm for Cairn India gets the nod for production ramp-up in its Rajasthan blocks. And Kingfisher has yet another quandary on its hands. Swati will be joining us with that exclusive. Swati.
Well, that's right. Kingfisher CEO Sanjay Agarwal could be on his way out, but the announcement is expected only post Kingfisher Airlines arranges funds. I'll get you all the details on the other side.
All right, on to a Cnbc TV 18 exclusive as Kingfisher Airlines is gearing up to arrange funds for meeting its daily working capital requirements and reducing its debt burden. Cnbc TV 18 learns that its CEO, Sanjay Agarwal, may be on his way out. Swati Khandelwal joins us now with the exclusive details. Swati, what are you picking out? What could be behind Sanjay Agarwal's possible exit?
Well, that's right. We understand from sources that Kingfisher Airlines CEO Sanjay Agarwal could be on his way out, and sources tell us that an announcement could be expected only post Kingfisher Airlines arranges funds, and that is expected before 31st of March 2012, because we understand that the company is hopeful of arranging funds before this time. They are in constant dialogues with the lenders for enhancing the working capital loan.
Up next, Yahoo co-founder Jerry Yang quits, clears the way for an asset sale in Asia.
And the World Bank paints a gloomy forecast for the globe, says a Lehman-like crisis may grip the capital markets.
The Yahoo stock is rallying post the news. The broader U.S. markets also in fine spirits after U.S. home builders' confidence hit its highest level since June 2007. Seema Modi joined us now from the Nasdaq with the latest from Wall Street. It's not just Yahoo, Seema, there's plenty else that's making news tonight.
True, a lot of different factors that are playing out this morning. Of course, earnings from Goldman, that industrial production number, and of course, mortgage application data. And then, of course, from the corporate world, watching those structural changes from Yahoo bode well for the stock today. That, of course, being Yahoo's Yang exiting the firm, first announcing this yesterday after hours, giving signs that perhaps a buyout is on the horizon.
But it's not looking good if you go by what the World Bank is saying. The reading of the global economy is looking increasingly dire. The World Bank has revised downwards its global growth forecast for 2012. It expects the world economy to expand 2.5% in 2012 and 3.1% in 2013. That's sharply lower than its June estimate of 3.6%.
We're talking about slowdown. How can you keep the ratings agencies out of it? Because they're clearly sharpening their knives. Fitch is now mulling a possible downgrade for 6 EU countries as well. Managing Director of Fitch Ratings on his part said that he expects the credit ratings agency's review of European countries, including Italy and Spain, to lead to a downgrade for most of them. And this is, of course, coming on the back of the S&P downgrade.
And Wikipedia goes black and Google blocks out its logo, protesting the controversial anti-piracy bill for the US Congress.
A setback for Narendra Modi. The Gujarat High Court rejects the government's plea and upholds the appointment of the state Lokayukta. More details when returned.
A blackout and an SOS. That's what Wikipedia greeted its India users with at 10:30 a.m. this morning. The website is protesting against the Stop Anti-Piracy Act and the Protect IP Act, both under debate in the US Congress.
Well, time now for a quick check on what is making headlines in the national arena. Let's head across to Veera Raghav. Hi, Veera.
Thanks very much. Starting with that continuing row between the army chief and the political establishment over his age. For the first time since he moved the Supreme Court, the defense secretary met the army chief and expressed strong displeasure on behalf of A.K. Antony at the leak of letters written by the chief to the minister.
With that, it's a wrap on India Business Hour tonight. Your World at 10 coming up next. Stay with us right here on Cnbc TV 18.
Hello and welcome to this special CNBC TV 18 show. I'm Shireen Bhan and we're in conversation with a very special guest, Professor Joseph Stiglitz. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. How are you viewing the Indian economy and the India story at this point?
Well, basically, India is part of a global story. The fact is that there's a slowdown in all the emerging markets, all the advanced industrial countries.
For a country like India, in its evolution, how do you view this battle between fiscal consolidation, fiscal deficit, and the need to provide for more equitable growth?
Well, I think you put your finger on the key issue, is how do you balance these various demands. I think it is important over time to phase out the subsidies.
I know you've been very critical in the past about the austerity measures that have been imposed on countries like Greece because you don't believe austerity is really the answer to the Eurozone's problems. But are you feeling a little better about the state of affairs in the Eurozone?
The mindset of too many people in Europe has been focused on austerity. And with austerity, there will not be growth. And without growth, the countries will not be able to meet their debt obligations, the debt crisis, and therefore the euro crisis will grow worse.
The demise of the euro, has that just been postponed, or do you believe that that is inevitable?
Well, I think the likelihood that the euro will survive is really very questionable.
welcome to CNBC TV 18. I'm Shireen Bhan, and we're in conversation with the man who brought Ford back to life, Alan Mulally. Many thanks for joining us on the show.
Glad to be here.
You know, India is clearly an exciting market. It's a market that every global automotive giant wants a part of. But you're investing in markets like Brazil and China. If I were to ask you in terms of costs of business, in terms of ease of doing business, how does India rank in your pecking order as an investment destination?
Well, India is very, very competitive, and as you pointed out, it's a tremendous market for our customers.
Are you seeing a sense of a return of some sort of confidence in the American markets at this point in time? Because the jury's still out on which way the market's going to be headed.
Yes, we are. If we look around the world, we see a gradual recovery in the economy in the U.S. and the Americas.
What are your thoughts on China?
Nearly 70% of our incremental sales going forward will be in the Asia-Pacific market, starting with India and China.
Hello and welcome to the CNBC TV 18 Special Rewind 2010. I'm Shireen Bhan. Now, this is the show where we try and recap the biggest events of the year gone by and look ahead into 2011. Now, 2010 was truly a landmark year for India. The economy roared back to life. India Inc. rediscovered its acquisition appetite, and the markets were back to their winning ways. But the good run didn't last all year. Scams and scandals grabbed the headlines, raised political storms, and dented India's image. So what do we have in store in 2011? Let's find out. Well, let's start with the telecom space. The Exchequer earned a record nearly $23 billion from the sale of 3G and broadband wireless access radio spectrum earlier this summer. Now, the revenues were way beyond expectations and have helped bridge the fiscal deficit, even though, as we say goodbye to 2010, there are questions on the launch of 3G services like video calling.
1,76,645 crores. That's what A. Raja and his 2G policies cost the nation. The scam ended Raja's reign and put the UPA government on the back foot. 1,02,273 crores. That's how much the government raked in from the 3G and BWA auctions. Even as the FM laughs all the way to the bank, question remains whether 3G will end up being a winner's curse. Your number and a better operator. That's the promise mobile number portability brings to India's 800 million mobile users. The service goes pan-India in January and expect nothing but fireworks.
He's been called a maverick, an activist, and even an obstructionist. Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh has drawn a curtain on many big-ticket projects for corporate India.
POSCO's $12 billion steel mill in Orissa, India's largest FDI project, is still awaiting the Environment Ministry's green signal. Anil Agarwal's Vedanta was also on the green hit list. Vedanta's Niyamgiri and Lanjigar projects continued to face the heat this year. The ministry's go, no-go policy has also threatened to short-circuit two 4,000 megawatt ultra-mega power projects.